Hi, this is Mrs. Baston. Today we're going to talk about indicators and pH. So when you're measuring pH, there's a couple different tools you can use. The first one is an indicator. So an indicator is a chemical substance that changes color as a result of varying concentrations of H+ ions in the solution. These are best used to estimate the pH of a substance because they change color. So when you look at these different indicators, there's always a chart that tells you what the different colors are or what the different colors represent, but you have to remember that this is more of an estimate for the pH. The transition interval is the term that we use when we're talking about the pH range over which a particular indicator changes color. So here's some examples of some different indicators. So you can see that there are a lot of them that only change color in a very narrow transition interval. So there's a very narrow pH range over which they change color. So if you're looking for something at a certain pH, you would have to kind of know or at least an estimate of what the pH was. There's also something called universal indicator, which is made by mixing several of the indicator solutions together. This can be useful if you really aren't sure what the pH is. So this changes over a range from 0 to 14. So you can see that they tend to be reds, yellows, and oranges when they're in the acidic range. They're green when they're neutral, and then they tend to be blues and purples when they get into the alkaline or the basic range. So this is useful if you're really not sure what the pH is, because this will kind of put it into a category. And again, those pH values are an estimate. So a more specific way to know what the pH is to use something called a pH meter. The pH meter will give you a numerical value for the pH of a substance. And there's several different kinds. Some of them are handheld. There's some vernier probes that you'll use when you do labs, but they give you a much more specific indication of what the pH of that solution is.